Several breaking news stories to get to this morning. We're going to start with this one. According to several reports, the Washington Redskins will have a new name. ESPN reports that after 87 years, the team will officially announce plans to change their name this morning. Now, ESPN does not expect the new name to be unveiled yet. They say the team is still going through the trademark process on that. They report no Native American imagery will be used when it comes to this new name, but the team will still use the same colors. Actress and former model Kelly Preston has passed away after a 2-year battle with breast cancer. Her husband of almost 20 years, actor John Travolta, confirmed that on Instagram, calling her "my beautiful wife" and thanking the doctors at MD Anderson Cancer Center for helping in her battle. Preston was in several films over the last several decades, including Space Camp, Twins, and Jerry Maguire. She was 57 years old. And this morning, China is threatening to ban entry to U.S. Senators Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz. Representative Chris Smith and Ambassador for Religious Freedom Sam Brownback have also been banned from the country. China is doing this because the men have been vocal about criticizing the Communist Party's policy toward minorities. The U.S. imposed sanctions against China after the country incarcerated more than 1 million Muslims in what that country calls retraining centers.
8:04 is the time right now, and in just a few hours we should learn if our state broke another national record when it comes to new single-day cases of COVID-19 reported. Our state broke that record over the weekend. In 2 days, the Department of Health reported more than 37,000 new cases. Yesterday alone, there were more than 15,000 cases reported. That is the largest single-day increase in any state since the start of the pandemic. Here in Southwest Florida, Lee County surpassed the 10,000 case mark after reporting almost 1,800 new cases over the weekend. As the average number of cases rises, so does the average daily death toll reported. Now, here in Florida, we are averaging 73 deaths reported per day. That is up from 30 deaths reported per day in March at the start of this pandemic. And we also know that more than 4,300 people have died in Florida since this pandemic started. As the number of cases rise, so do the number of hospitalizations that we're seeing. Now, here is a look at how many beds are available at each Southwest Florida hospital. In total, there are 17% of ICU beds in Charlotte, Collier, and Lee counties combined. That means of the 273 total beds, only 48 of those beds are available. And to help ease the stress on our hospital systems, Governor Ron DeSantis says shipments of remdesivir are coming into our state.
That had been something that a lot of the physicians have been using. We got positive responses for it. Of course, that's a new therapeutic that had been developed by Gilead and had been given an emergency use authorization by the FDA.
The additional medicine comes as Lee Health Systems activated their coronavirus surge plan. Lee Health CEO Dr. Antonucci said Lee Health usually closes units over the summer, but because the beds are needed more now, they aren't closing them. They're actually seeing a 35% increase in patients than they normally do. Staff that had been on voluntary leave are now being asked to come back to work. And this morning, we're learning first responders from Colorado are on call to come to Florida should there be another overwhelming spike in cases.
Well, testing here in Florida has gone up, almost doubled over the last month, going from about 25,000 tests a day to almost 50,000 tests. In fact, there were more than 100,000 yesterday. And the percentage of people who are testing positive has also gone up 14%. This morning, Jessica Alpern looks into how state and local leaders are responding when it comes to things like masks and plans to reopen.
Well, according to the governor, we're now testing 1 in 9 Floridians. That's the latest message from DeSantis, who touted Florida's current testing situation over the weekend. This as the state hit the highest number of cases recorded by any single state. DeSantis suggested our upward trend of positivity rates might be flattening for much of Florida. Experts recommend states aim for a positivity rate below 10%. Ours has been over 11 for the past 2 weeks. We haven't been below 10% since June 24th. With more than 7,500 COVID COVID-19 patients hospitalized. Medical systems across our state say they're struggling to keep up and are running out of ICU beds. We've seen the numbers prompt beach closures and in some areas a rollback of their phased reopening. Still, critics say the governor needs to do more.
It's out of control across the state because our governor won't even tell everybody to wear masks.
If we can get a critical mass of people wearing face coverings, practicing at least 6 feet of social distancing, doing the things that we know are effective, we have the ability to turn this around.
Despite lack of a statewide mandate, both Charlotte and Collier County say they'll meet tomorrow to discuss a possible mask mandate. Jessica Alpern, Fox 4, in your corner.
And speaking of those meetings about the masks, Jessica, it looks like one Collier County leader wants to make an example of his county. He told Fox 4 it is time for a change.
So I think it's time that we need to take this action to send a statement, one, to the rest of Florida and the rest of the country that we're taking this seriously, and that we want everyone in Collier County to join us in trying to keep not only ourselves healthy, but everybody else healthy as well.
Well, what about Lee County? Commissioners there decided not to issue a mandate. They instead said that the use of masks is strongly encouraged. If you need a mask today, there will be a free drive-through mask distribution in Naples. It's happening at the Chabad Naples Jewish Community Center from 4 in the afternoon until 6. The masks are made of cotton and they are reusable. They'll be available on a first-come, first-served basis.
All right, coming up, we got to get you a check of the forecast because it is warm and muggy out there. In the mid-80s here along the coastline, and those feels-like temperatures are climbing quickly through the mid to upper 90s.
Good morning, Southwest Florida. Shh, look who's sleeping. This is Gigi, Virginia opossum, and she is just knocked out, guys. But we wanted to show it to you guys. We're going to be telling you all the newest stuff going on here at Crow Clinic over here in Sanibel, so you'll want to stick with us after the break.
At 8:10, we want to take a look at the traffic hotspots brought to you by the personal injury attorneys at Farah and Farah.
My brother Chuck and I grew up in a close-knit family. We knew that whatever happened to any of us affected all of us.
If you or a loved one has been hurt, your problems become our problems. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979.
Good Monday morning to you. 8:13 is the time. Hope your day's off to a great start. We're looking live at I-75. This is near Kings Highway. As you can see, the interstate is just fine. Not seeing any problems out there this morning. It is a warm one, though. I guess what else would you expect in mid-July in Southwest Florida? But it seems like it's even warmer today. Trent has his forecast. He's updating it right now. We'll get a look at that in just a few minutes.
Well, Crow Clinic on Sanibel is getting a much-needed grant to help rescue sea turtles. The clinic got a grant for $10,000 from the Florida Sea Turtle Grants Program. It's funded by the sales of specialty Sea Turtle Florida license plates. This extra funding will allow the clinic to buy a new hoist, gurney, and scale used to treat sick or injured sea turtles. This new equipment will be especially helpful when treating loggerhead sea turtles like this big girl. Take a look. This female loggerhead was rescued over the weekend after being found floating on her back in the water. Poor thing. It's a condition known as bubble gut. The 215-pound turtle was given an IV and was put in a shallow tank to be monitored. Now, if you want to see that wildlife like turtles like this firsthand, you can go to the Crow Clinic on Sanibel, and that's actually where Nolani is this morning. So, Nolani, what do you have for us now?
Good morning. Yes, we're inside their visitor center that just reopened last month. They also have a hospital here that's been open the entire time. Some of the things they do is treat traumatic injuries, but I'm going to leave it to Allison here. She's the executive director, just to tell us a little bit about the latest here at Crow. How busy have you guys been?
We've been exceptionally busy. So the hospital has actually seen an uptick in patients. We're 15% more patients than we saw last year, which was a record number year for us. So we're really seeing a lot, and we're doing our best to take care of what we can. And, we're not utilizing volunteers right now because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
We were closed during 3 months.
For the lockdown and everything.
For the lockdown. So, we are a not-for-profit and we are relying on donations and grants. And so one of the exciting things is we are trying to do and reach people in different ways. So we have been utilizing social media and our webcams, and if people can't get out here to see what we're doing.
That's awesome.
We've been utilizing Zoom and getting into the classrooms still.
That is awesome. Yeah, look at this. What's going on over here?
So our rehabilitation enclosures, it looks like we've got some doctors that are getting ready to perform some surgeries. All of these webcams are online. Yeah. People can see what's happening at Crow.
Which is awesome. If you can't come out,
you can't come out.
Yeah, if you can't get here, then you can always go online and see all of these cool things going on. I think it's very cool. Plus, the hospital right now is closed to public tours with COVID going on. So, this is also giving you that bird's eye look into the hospital just to see kind of how busy they are. And I know right now you guys are also caring and rehabilitating a very large sea turtle.
We are. We received a loggerhead last week. It's 215 pounds. And so we're transferring it this morning into one of our larger enclosures. We were lucky enough, for those of you that have the sea turtle license plate, we recently received a grant for a hoist. So that'll be constructed, unfortunately not soon enough. So our staff will be, hoisting themselves to hoist this sea turtle into the enclosure. But we're really excited about that grant and any donations.
Awesome. Well, we will continue to show you more inside this visitor center. There's a lot of really cool interactive things you can do, and just how they're still being safe with COVID going on right now. We'll have all that coming up in the next half hour. And I'll toss it back to you guys for now.
All right, thanks, Nalani. We want to get you a check of your forecast here. It's 8:18 this morning, and our temperatures, well, you would think it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is warm out there, and it is humid. All right, now on the radar, we are tracking some showers moving into the coastal regions of mainland Monroe and also into Collier County. Now, this rain is weakening as it gets closer to the coastline, but it stretches from Flamingo all the way south there of Cape Romano, Chokoloskee, and I-75. Now, Bonita Springs dry, but we've had a couple of teeny tiny showers try to develop there between 82 and 75, and same thing for the Cape. Fort Myers Beach, everyone dry for now, but up towards Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda, we have one light shower moving right along the Peace River. Harbor Heights, you're up next to pick up some light rainfall, and then later on this afternoon, only a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms here in town. Punta Gorda, it feels like 87 due to the humidity, but it's all sunshine being reported there, but there is a rain shower getting ready to change that observation. 81 out of Page Field, winds are calm, visibility looking pretty good, and down in Naples feels like 97 degrees. That is a warm one, and that humidity is high due to that onshore flow. And Immokalee, you're warming up as well, up to 81 degrees now after starting your morning in the mid-70s. Now later on today, we will see an isolated chance of an inland storm. That rain chance about 30%. Your sunset time coming up at 8:23. So a little larger view across the country. This moisture extended all the way up to Tropical Storm Faye over the weekend, and has slowly drifted from north to south over the weekend, and that brought us a little more wet weather there on Sunday. But as long as this area high pressure is sitting just off to our west in the Gulf of Mexico, we've got this westerly wind across the state. That's going to push the showers and thunderstorms towards Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. But eventually we start to see a shift in that weather pattern as we go through later on in the week. The upper level winds will even push the showers and thunderstorms in our direction, but that doesn't happen for a couple more afternoons. So the tropics are quiet. Look how quiet, as a matter of fact, from the central Atlantic all the way back towards the Windward Islands. There's a reason for that, and we show you the Saharan air layer. This is the dust that comes off the coast of Africa, Bermuda High just to the north, and that's pushing the dust to the south. And this is a 5-day forecast. By Wednesday, some of it get close to South Florida. It should stay down in the Florida Keys before moving into Texas. We'll show you what it looks like here on a little closer view. We'll stop this again Wednesday afternoon with that dust right there down in the mid to lower Keys. Your Ingham Marine forecast here for today looks pretty good. Seas 1 to 2 feet, light chop on the bay waters, the UV index high. So as we roll through the next couple of afternoons, we bump the temperatures up and we bump the rain chance up. We'll be at 94 for Wednesday and Thursday, and then stormy Friday into the upcoming weekend.
The debate over reopening schools continues across our country. Some leaders say they want the kids to go back, but parents and health experts warn that it may be too soon. We'll tell you why Governor DeSantis says now is the time. 8:21 on your Monday morning. You're watching Fox 4 Morning News. 8:23 is the time right now. You know, the debate over whether or not to send students back to school this fall is intensifying. Governor DeSantis has said even with rising case rates, he still wants the schools to reopen as scheduled next month. He claims children have not been proven to spread the disease in states where campuses are open. Whitney Wild brings us the latest on the debate from Washington.
Kimberly Chavez Lopez Bird died June 26 after fighting coronavirus in the hospital for less than 2 weeks.
She was very supportive. She was what I would call a giver of knowledge, a giver of kindness.
Bird shared a classroom with 2 other teachers in Arizona. Though school officials say all 3 wore gloves, masks, and used hand sanitizer, all 3 contracted the virus.
My main thing is if we can't stay safe, how are our students going to stay safe?
It's a startling example of the risks of returning to school. The American Academy of Pediatrics supports in-person learning. The American Federation of Teachers says it's not clear districts can do so safely.
We simply just don't have the space, the flexibility, the time, the funding to be able to make that a reality and to be able to put our staff and student safety at the forefront of our decisions.
Making the decision harder, mixed messages from Washington. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released public guidelines for reopening, but according to an internal CDC document obtained by the New York Times, some within the agency warn reopening schools is the highest risk for spread.
Kids need to be in school. They need to be learning. They need to be moving ahead. And we cannot be paralyzed and not allow that or not be intent on that happening.
In Washington, I'm Whitney Wild.
Well, kids are learning to do coronavirus tests on themselves, which could cut PPE costs for schools. It's part of an ongoing study at 2 San Francisco summer camps. The tests are a little different. They use the same swab, but instead of going deep into the nose, the kids are just asked to wipe around the inside of the nostril. Researchers say kids doing their own swabs allows for more physical distancing and therefore less of a need for PPE. Another school-based study is being planned for the fall.
After our state shattered the single-day record of reported coronavirus cases, we're taking a look at how much of that the governor says is due to an increase in testing, plus how state and local leaders are responding when it comes to possible mask mandates and Florida's plan to reopen. That story is coming up.
Live from the station that's in your corner. You're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
Good morning, everybody. Just about to turn 8:30 on your Monday morning. What a beautiful shot this is. Blue skies and bright sun out at Fort Myers Beach right now. See a lot of people there on the beach enjoying it as well. A beautiful shot there. But I see that, and Trent, you know what sticks out to me? How bright it is. And then I think about poor Lisa, who is sitting right in that sun right now.
Yep.
You hanging in there, Lise?
I'm hanging in. It is definitely very, very hot. My photographer Juan and I are starting to sweat it out here in downtown Fort Myers, and we're looking forward to the fact that we're in the final 30 minutes of the show today.
I'd like that the hair's up now, so that lets us know that you're nice and sweaty, and that it's toasty out there. Looking good, and tell Juan I'm sorry as well. But let's get you a check of the radar here. We have some showers if you look the other direction, down towards Collier County and mainland Monroe. Little line all the way back towards the East Coast, and this is that moisture line that extended into Tropical Storm Faye over the weekend. Now, right now, most of the showers are concentrated south of I-75 and the heaviest ones out over the Gulf of Mexico. Naples, you're drying out. Bonita Springs, we've had a few showers on and off throughout the day. And as we look at those temperatures, it's in the 80s already already in almost all locations except Moorhaven, Clewiston, Arcadia, and Palmdale. And you see the dew point values near 80 degrees. That is extremely humid. Matter of fact, on our Muggy meter, that is above 75, and that is what we call oppressive there on the Muggy meter. The very humid category starts there at 70. Well, we're up here at 75 degrees, and your forecast here for today calls for those temperatures of 92 degrees with a chance of showers and storms inland. We'll talk much more here coming up in just a couple of minutes.
All right, we have some breaking news to tell you about just into the Fox 4 newsroom. An Amber Alert has just been issued for 5-year-old Naomi Herring out of Madison, Florida. It's just south of the Florida-Georgia line. She was last seen wearing a black and yellow bumblebee dress and blue shorts with a fruit print. She's possibly not wearing shoes. Naomi has long hair. You see her picture right there on the screen. If you have any information about where she is, please contact the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Well, the Sunshine State is heating up, becoming the nation's hotspot for new coronavirus cases. Florida was already seeing a dramatic rise in new cases, but yesterday the state crossed a new threshold. The Department of Health reports more than 15,000 new cases in a single day. Florida is among the states being criticized for reopening too soon, rushing to get back to business while the virus is still raging. Our state's record-breaking numbers will play a big role in whether some local counties vote to mandate masks. Jessica Alpern is looking ahead to that and also bringing us some perspective to these numbers. Jessica.
A possible mask mandate is on the agenda for both Collier and Charlotte counties to discuss tomorrow. This comes as Florida shattered the single-day record of new coronavirus cases, reporting nearly 15,300. At least 26 states are pausing or rolling back their reopening plans in an effort to get virus spread under control. Governor DeSantis has said Florida will pause for now, but we won't see a statewide shutdown again. He also says he's working to secure tests with faster results after a hospital system president stressed the need for more resources.
Of course, our mission really focuses on protecting the vulnerable. We've, from the very beginning, wanted to expand testing. We are definitely doing that.
The latest numbers also come after Disney World reopened some of its theme parks over the weekend, with 2 more scheduled to reopen Wednesday.
I'm not as worried about people that are in the Disney enterprise, but what happens when they leave? And what happens when they travel to get there? That's the worry. Disney has millions of dollars to spend. It tells you how difficult it's going to be to open schools if we don't have billions of dollars.
Despite Florida schools reopening come fall, Atlanta Public Schools says it will not be bringing students back into the classrooms. You may recall Georgia was one of the earliest states to reopen. There are now more than 114,000 confirmed cases and almost 3,000 deaths there. Collier and Charlotte are set to discuss masks tomorrow. Lee County does not have a mask mandate order. Jessica Alpern, Fox 4 in your corner.
Well, Jessica, health experts say masks won't just save lives, they'll also end up saving money. An analysis by Goldman Sachs showed that if there were a mandate for everyone in the U.S. to wear masks, lockdowns could end earlier. That would prevent about a 5% loss of the gross domestic product, which would end up saving each person about $3,000 a year.
Well, many of you tell us that 4 in Your Corner has been helping you get answers and, more importantly, money during this COVID-19 crisis and the unemployment system that we've seen having so many issues. Our Jessica Alpern has been following up with the with the DEO on behalf of hundreds of claimants. You may recall she recently shared this Estera woman's story. She had been waiting nearly 3 months for her state and federal unemployment benefits from the Department of Economic Opportunity. Jessica stayed on top of her claim for weeks, and just days after her most recent conversations with the DEO, we can confirm that that woman finally received her money. And listen to this, she's not alone either. Of the hundreds of people on Jessica's list, several are reaching out to confirm the very same thing. If you still need help getting answers to your unemployment questions, you can find Jessica on her Facebook page. She will definitely help you out. If you're in need of food, the Harry Chapin Food Bank will be holding 2 mobile food pantries today. One will be at Franklin Park Elementary in Fort Myers, the other at Harold Avenue Regional Center in Charlotte County. They both run from 10 a.m. to noon. You are urged to get there early and you stay in your car as volunteers fill your trunk with food. And if you're looking for a job, Goodwill is hosting a job fair. It's happening at the one in Lehigh Acres. It's Thursday at the Community Resource Center on Lee Boulevard. They have over 30 positions they say need to be filled immediately, and they'll be doing interviews for this on the spot. It starts at 10 a.m. It goes until 2 p.m. The Lee County Homeless Coalition is sponsoring the event with the help of a $1,500 grant. And we want to remind you, Four in Your Corner is committed to helping you rebound from this pandemic with another job fair to tell you about. Fox 4 is partnering with these local organizations you see here on your screen to bring you the Southwest Florida Virtual Job Fair. It's August 13th. More than 24 companies are looking to hire right now. And guess what? We'll be there too. So you can register for free when you go to bettertogetherus.org.
Well, with coronavirus cases spiking, President Trump's aides and allies are questioning whether the Republican National Convention will even be worth the trouble. The late August event has already been moved from North Carolina to Jacksonville, and now some are advocating it be scrapped altogether. They say conventions are meant to lay out a candidate's vision for the coming 4 years, not spark months of intrigue over the health and safety of the people who went there. Ultimately, the decision to move forward will likely be left to the president. And we can tell you this weekend, President Trump wore a mask for the first time when he visited Walter Reed Medical Center. He has refused to cover his face in public for months. Presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden blasted the president for waiting until now to follow the advice of public health experts. Fox News correspondent Peter Ducey has the latest on the race from Washington.
Just a few minutes after President Trump popped up wearing a mask on Saturday, the Biden campaign sent out an email blast with text saying they think wearing a mask is patriotic and they don't think President Trump sees it that way. And that's as they try to sell buttons on their website that say, wear a mask. And as even more time passed, the Biden campaign tried to argue that they believe Trump wearing a mask on Saturday is too little too late with this, quote, Donald Trump spent months ignoring the advice of medical experts and politicizing wearing a mask, one of the most important things we can do to prevent the spread of the virus. Rather than taking responsibility and leading, he wasted 4 months that Americans have been making sacrifices by stoking divisions and actively discouraging people from taking a very basic step to protect each other. The pandemic brought the primary season to a screeching halt, and now general election campaigns are fighting to register the most voters, with the Trump campaign arguing they've got an enthusiasm edge.
We've been harnessing this enthusiasm and turning it into positive voter registration numbers. I mean, just alone, Republicans have been able to double the amount of voter registrations than we have seen in the 2016 cycle. And this includes in states like Florida, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina.
And that could be critical because in years past, volunteers would be everywhere this time of year, knocking on doors or asking people on college campuses to register to vote. But because of COVID-19, that's all gone this time. In Washington, Peter Ducey, Fox News.
Peter, thank you. And the pandemic is adding new costs to this year's election. With more demand for mail-in ballots, money is needed for printing and postage. Poll workers will need training and PPE to keep themselves and voters safe. Some state officials are also looking at putting protective shields around polling booths. Money to help states offset the cost of making this election more COVID-friendly is currently stalled on Capitol Hill. Republicans and Democrats have yet to agree on the next stimulus package. If you're planning to vote in the upcoming election, here are some important dates you need to keep in mind. The deadline to register for the August 18th primary is 1 week from today. That's July 20th. And then the deadline to request your mail-in ballot is August 8th. To do either of these, head to registertovoteflorida.gov, or you can also go to your county's election supervisor's website.
Good morning, Southwest Florida. We've been showing you around Crow Visitor Center here in Sanibel, and now we're going to show you our friend Violet here. She's going to be joining us after the break. I'll tell you all about it coming up next on Fox 4 Morning News. Morning.
Ooh, all right, coming up, Nolani, we got to check the radar. A little green showing up there off mainland Monroe and Collier counties. How much rain is in store here the next couple of days, and how much do we need to catch up here in Southwest Florida? I've got all those answers coming up here in a few minutes.
And at 8:41, here's a look at the traffic hotspots brought to you by the personal injury attorneys at Farah and Farah.
My brother Chuck and I grew up in a close-knit family. We knew that whatever happened to any of us affected all of us.
If you or a loved one has been hurt, your problems become our problems. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979.
8:44 is the time, and this is a live out at Cape Coral from our tower camera here at Fox 4. Pine Island Road specifically, and we're seeing a little bit of traffic out there, but things looking good as we start our Monday morning.
Well, protecting our paradise means learning more about the wildlife we see here in Southwest Florida, and that is part of the mission at Crow on Sanibel. That's where Nolani is this morning. She's been showing us a bunch of different animals that they are taking care of there. What do you have for us now, Nolani?
Good morning. I am here with Allison again, and this is a part of the visitor center that you can also see and be a part of. Tell us just a little bit about what this is here.
Well, Crow's Wildlife Hospital treats native and migratory species. So part of what we teach here at the Wildlife Education Center is the difference between native and invasive species. So here on display we have native and invasive toads, we have native and invasive snakes. So you'll see the difference between a good southern toad and the cane toads are also the bufo toads that people are seeing that are harmful to their